Hey there, good morning. It's Sunday morning, right? Time to catch up on the weekend. Hey, Rosella, thanks for joining. Well, you're on really quick. That's good. Hope everybody has having a great weekend. Um, I wanted to touch base and talk about public relations and how to promote your business, your small business, your idea, and when you get started with your company. So, let me do a quick introduction before I jump into that. I've got some few tips I want to share. For those of you who don't know me, my name is DJ Valori. I own and operate a multi-million dollar multinational company and multi-million dollar company. I started from scratch with just a piece of paper in my spare bedroom over 10 years ago. And now we work with hotels and resorts throughout the world. And I don't have a book to sell. I don't have a webinar to promote or anything like that. I'm really here just trying to help people and small businesses to get started by providing tips and tricks that I've learned throughout the years in building my company. Hey, EMS CEO, how's that? Welcome to the scope. Again, if you don't know me, I'm DJ Valori. And on this scope, what I do is I try to help entrepreneurs and small startups with tips and tricks that I've learned over the last 10, 15 years in setting up multiple businesses, but more importantly, a new business that I'd started in 2004, which has developed into a multi-million dollar multinational business. So I kind of like to help other entrepreneurs, giving them some advice, some tips, some shortcomings, some issues that I've learned over the years in launching and running this company. I do these scopes about 3 or 4 times a week. I did one earlier in the week from Miami Beach. I was traveling on business. Now I'm on the Jersey Shore. And make sure that you follow me on Periscope so that you're keep up to date as new Periscopes come up. You'll get an alert. So, okay, this week's topic is, or today's topic is really how to promote yourself and your business through public relations, right? When you don't have a lot of money and you want to get your business off the ground and started, you need to get the word out there, right? Because if no one knows you're there, it's going to be very difficult for you to get some visibility. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to share. Well, let's talk about this. Let me just back up and say that when I started my business, technology wasn't as available as it is today to be able to share with people all over the world, like we're doing now on this Periscope. So it was really more. It was a harder way to get the message out, more complicated, it took more time, was more expensive, etc. So I won't go into detail because that's all irrelevant. Now, what we do today to promote our business, we'll talk about that and give you some tips. So the first thing you want to do is you want to identify industry publications that are working specifically in your vertical, right? So for our situation, we're in the hospitality business. So we have identified publications that serve the hospitality industry and hospitality industry vendors. And this enables us to target those publications and those editors when we have a new announcement or a new press release that we want to share, right? So what you want to do is set up your list of editors and publications and start communicating with them before you have anything to say. Just introduce yourself, right? So it could be via email. You want to create an email list. And if you have a large list of emails that you want to start promoting to, I would say make sure that you're using an email service. Don't send it out from your Google Mail or your Outlook mail because you'll be flagged by your ISP, your internet service provider, as sending out spam if you're sending out typically more than 100 emails an hour. So set yourself up with like MailChimp, or we use MyEmma. Works really well. It's really easy to use. You can create your list there of all the editors and publishers of your different publications so that when you have an announcement to make, you can clearly just click the button and send out that announcement to your list of all these editors and publishers to get visibility. So that's really important. But you want to kind of prime the pump before you send out your first, hey, Pastu, thanks for joining us. You want to first prime the pump with the editors and publishers before you need them, right? So start the relationship like anything else, like in sales, it takes time. So send them an introductory email as to who you are. Again, you're not promoting anything at that point. You're just explaining a little bit about your company and yourself way before you have anything that you want to promote. Also, it helps to send a physical snail mail letter out to them as well, so that, again, you're building that relationship. And as we talked in previous Periscopes, traditional snail mail in the mail with a stamp on it actually works. It gets through to people these days because of all the social media noise out there. So I would do that. I would basically email and potential ISP problem. Yep, thanks, Rosella. So it's definitely a good idea to send out snail mail to your publishers and your editors before you have something to say, right? That's really important. So the second tip is you want to create content, right? So no matter how small you believe, and this is a really big tip here, you want to always promote yourself, right? So much to the standpoint where the publishers and editors kind of say, oh, here's another press release from this company or this person. Because that will keep them top of mind awareness of you and your business and your products and services. So I learned this early on. There was a guy in Dallas when I worked for American Airlines who was always promoting himself. I mean, he sneezed or had a cough, he sent out a press release. And it worked. It built him up as like an industry guru who knew a lot about the industry and was always out there and visible. If you're not there and not known, you're just noise. No one's going to come to your website. No one's going to visit you. You got to get out there and do things to promote yourself. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. So today we're talking about, Mike, for those who just joined us, public relations and how to promote yourself really on a shoestring budget when you're starting your company. And we're talking about creating newsletters and lists of emails to publishers and editors so that when you're ready to send, you can quickly send out your press release to these people, but you've got to prime the pump. Create the content, right, when you're ready to send stuff out. So you have a new website that's up, send out a press release. You have a new logo, send out a press release. These things may not be selling your particular product or service, but again, you're getting your name out there and more visibility amongst the editors and publishers. So those are definitely tips that I would definitely recommend that you do as a startup. It worked really well for me. One of the things that we don't do and might be different in your business is when you have a new client that you're working with, I see a lot of companies that promote this. Be careful with that because your competitors are also watching you and reading your press releases, right? So you want to make sure that they're not keeping track of all of your customers to know who you're working with so that when your agreements come up, they can kind of figure that out, start trying to poach your customers, right? So we take the stance that we don't really share that. It's confidential. And most of our customers do that as well, our competitors as well. So always create content, sending it out before you have major news releases that you want to send out. That's really important. And work those emails and that list. Send out snail mail to the editors and publishers. That works really well. So I have one final tip, which is really leveraging social media, right? And things you can do there. Before I get into that, let me know where you're from. The folks, Roselle, I know where you're from, but anybody out there that's on the scope here, please let me know where you're from so I can see what kind of reach that we're getting with the scope. The third tip is really obviously to leverage social media, right? So you want to leverage your social media channels in such a way that you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on YouTube, you're on Instagram. Mike, Northern Canada, thanks for joining us. It's probably pretty cool up there. That's that's great. It's really warm, hot, and humid here on the Jersey Shore. It's going to feel like almost 100 degrees today. But in any event, Mike, if you have any questions, let me know. What kind of business are you running, Mike? Let me know. Maybe we can chat about that. So the last tip is social media, right? We all know, yes, social media is out there. It's great. But you need to set yourself up properly. So if you don't know how to do all that stuff, there's actually, thanks, Rosella, for inviting followers. There's a service out there that we've used in the past called Knowem. It's www.knowem.com. They will set up hundreds of social media profiles for your company if that's something that you want to do. So all the major ones, thanks, Mike, for inviting folks to the stream. I appreciate it. You can use Knowem to actually create 200, 300, 400 different profiles on different social media sites. Now, obviously, the major ones are, probably the 5. You've got your Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, etc. But all the other ones that you probably never heard of will be useful in a sense that they're sending links to your website. So you're creating organic SEO, organic search engine optimization opportunities by having multiple links on different social media sites. When you post your press release, it'll go out to all the social media sites. And you'll have, again, further reach. Again, it's being out there. If no one knows you, you don't exist, right? If you're not out there and people having heard of you, seen your website, your product, your services, you don't exist. So you got to get out there. And Noam is a quick way to get out there. You can even reserve your name, your trademark through that application as well. It'll cost you a little bit of money, but it's really worth it. It saves you hundreds of hours of time. So you want to check that tool out as well. Again, it's Knowem, KNOWEM.com. That's right, Rosella. Thanks for putting that in there in the scope. Definitely check them out. Now, in addition to the social media distribution, you also want to probably use, on your big announcements, because it costs money, PR Newswire, Business Wire, those types of wire services to get your press release out. Make sure that your press release is formatted properly, right? And you can get templates off the internet for that. That's easy, and you should be able to figure that out. But send that out. A 2-page press release will probably cost you about $400 to $700, depending. Business Wire is a little bit cheaper than PR Newswire. So definitely get that noise out there, that promotion out there, I should say. And the fourth tip that I want to leave you with is definitely have a blog on your website, right? Because you want to leverage that and post the press release that you have on your blog, but go into explaining the benefits to the reader and the customer of the end product of your particular announcement, right? Don't just throw up the announcement, but explain why this announcement that you're making is of interest or should be of interest to someone reading it. That's maybe a customer, potential prospect. So that's definitely something you want to do. So just to recap real quick, and again, if you have any questions, let me know. I know it's Sunday, it's kind of slow today, but I thought I'd take the time. I'm DJ Valori. I started a successful company, multi-million-dollar company that operates worldwide, and I started that from really nothing 12 years ago, I think now 12 or 12 years ago. And I try to help entrepreneurs, give them advice, things that I've learned where I've failed so you don't make the same mistake. And started with just a blank piece of paper. Empowered, thanks for joining us. I don't have a book to sell. I don't have any webinar to sell you like others out there. It's free advice. I do these Periscopes 3 or 4 times a week when I have time. Again, because I travel quite a bit and I run this company. So I want to, whenever I have time, I'll be in my car or I'll be walking wherever, trying to share these tips to you. Today's tips, just to recap, are public relations. What you should do is when you're in a startup mode, guerrilla PR marketing, if you will, is create your email lists with your editors from within your vertical. See who those publishers are, those publications. Look at the masthead in the magazines. Go on their websites. Pick off the appropriate emails that you need to. Create your email database, if you will. If you have more than 100, don't send them out through your email clients, like Gmail or Outlook. You will be flagged for spamming. So make sure you use a service like MailChimp or others. We use MyEmma. They're relatively inexpensive, have a lot of powerful templates and messaging opportunities you can create within those. Definitely set that up if you have more than 100 people on your email list. The second thing is make sure you're creating content, as much of it as possible. So it doesn't have to be a major announcement, but if you have a new logo, a new website, a new page, a new section of your website, create some content, get it out there, explain to the reader why that content is important to them or should be important to them, right? Don't assume that they know that and understand it. So you have your official announcement, and then maybe through a blog on your website, make sure you're promoting, thanks for the hearts, make sure you're promoting the actual press release and the content through your blog as well. Of course, use social media. We talked about, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Set those up yourselves natively. Use a service like Knowem to actually set up hundreds of other social media profiles on other international social media sites and set yourself up with your logo, your links back to your website so that you'll start getting organic traffic on top of that to your website because of Knowem's reach and availability with all these social media networks. And then the last tip was to actually use a service like PR Newswire or Business Wire to get the message out. Those will cost anywhere from $450 to $700 depending on what you're sending out, a 2-page press release. There are free press release services out there. I have found that they're not very good. They usually go to publications that no one's ever heard of. However, you should use some of those anyway because if you can get a link on someone else's site, even though it's a obscure publication, in South Africa somewhere or in Thailand, you might get a link back to your website. And of course, a link back to your website organically, one-way link will work with you and help you in the search engine rankings. So those are the tips for public relations and how to promote your product and service from the get-go when you're starting out on a shoestring budget. And I hope you enjoyed my Periscope. It's a short one. I wanted to keep it short. I'll probably do another one later today or tomorrow. So make sure that you follow me on Periscope. I really appreciate it if you could do that. Go ahead and click the little number button there and follow me on Periscope so that you'll get an alert every time I jump on this thing on Periscope and get going with another scope. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good Sunday, everybody.